Our aim is to have 2 billion doses of vaccine available by the end of 2021. We're encouraged to see a large number of countries signing up to the COVAX facility, but we face some daunting challenges. For the ACT Accelerator to work as planned, it must be funded. So far, $3 billion has been invested. This has resulted in a very successful startup phase, but it's only a tenth of the remaining $35 billion needed for scale-up and impact.
Archie, thanks so much indeed for joining us. Would you say encouragement and disappointment both at the same time concerning the WHO's global initiative?
I think that's a pretty good summary, actually. I think it's pretty remarkable that we have 156 countries around the world coming together in this way, putting multilateralism to the forefront and agreeing to cooperate on a global pandemic, which is inherently a global challenge that can't be dealt with by individual countries. Of course, it's very disappointing that there are a number of very powerful nations that are not agreeing to participate, that are not supporting the multilateral effort. One can only speculate as to what the reasons might be for those individual countries not to participate, but I consider it to be very disappointing.
Yeah, China has at least 3 companies that are in phase 3 trials of a vaccine. The United States, 2 companies that are in those mass trials before possibly being distributed. What would you say their role might be? Have they given any indication? Is there any understanding about how they might share their formulas or their doses with other countries?
Well, without participating in a multilateral coordinating mechanism like COVAX, it's difficult to know how they plan to support the global effort. One is left asking the question, do they intend to support the global effort? Do they intend to use their technological superiority in some kind of geopolitical struggle, in positioning themselves, chest beating in terms of their success in developing a vaccine? One is left asking all of these questions, and currently the answers aren't forthcoming from these global superpowers that really should be supporting the multilateral effort.
Yeah, I mean, there have already been cases of certainly the United States trying to buy up drugs as therapeutics or potentially even vaccines exclusively for the American market. Archie, do you have any information about, out of the 9 companies that are in phase 3 trials for a potential vaccine, one is in Australia. Has that company or that project been giving any information to the public or updating people about the progress of its trials?
Well, that project is supported by CEPI, and it is part of the. It is funded through that multilateral mechanism. Australia is one of the countries that is participating in the COVAX facility, so I would fully expect that that vaccine would be included. Although I haven't read any specific statements about that particular vaccine that's been developed in Australia.
What is your analysis of not only what Donald Trump has said, his latest statement being that everyone in the US is going to get a vaccine by November the 3rd, but generally about the vaccines that are in these phase 3 trials and about possibly their widespread distribution? What is your understanding of a possible timeline here?
Oh, well, I think Donald Trump's statement is a complete load of rubbish. There is absolutely no way on earth that a vaccine is going to be available to everybody in the United States in time for the November election. I think that he's either, I mean, that is wishful thinking. The vaccine, the data from the phase 3 clinical trials in the United States won't even be available for analysis until October at the earliest. The production processes that will be required to be in place and the distribution mechanisms that will be required to be in place to ensure widespread availability of the vaccines will take a significant period of time to establish. I think it's highly doubtful that the average person in the United States will be receiving vaccines in the first half of next year. In terms of a global rollout, I would be very surprised if vaccines were reaching all 4 corners of the world before the end of next year. So clearly Donald Trump's statements have no grounding in reality. and clearly they're politically motivated and really should be ignored.
Archie, really appreciate your coming onto the programme. Archie Clements speaking to us there from Perth.